But they can also look like this, or this, or this. In other words, they can be tilted. But it's still going to be a cross, or a plus sign, or however you want to look at it. That's what they look like. But how can I make this line? How can I turn this into this? Well, with a perpendicular equation like a parallel, it's all about the slope. Where parallel has the same slope, perpendicular slopes use what's called a negative reciprocal. Now, what is a negative reciprocal? Well, you take a fraction and you flip it. So instead of 2/3, 3/2. So instead of top becomes bottom, bottom becomes top. So 2/3, 3/2. That's a reciprocal. And then we change the sign from a positive to a negative, or negative to a positive. In this case, because 2/3 was a positive, we're going to change it to a negative. So 3/2 becomes negative 3/2. So in other words, to take the whole thing together, negative 4/7 becomes positive 7/4. Flip, flip. Flip positive, negative, and flip top and bottom. And if you can do that, this will not be that difficult for you. So take this equation, y equals 7/9 x plus 3. All I have to do, ignore the 3. It's the same. 3 is going to be 3 for now. But for 7/9, flip. So instead of 7/9, 9/7. And instead of positive, make it negative. Take a look here. 9/7. 7/9 becomes 9/7. And then from positive to a negative. And that's it. Let's prove it real quick. Now this is going to be difficult, so hang on to this now. Y equals 7/9 x plus 3. That's our original, right? Right here. And this is our new flipped one. Y equals negative 9/7 x plus 3. Let's go ahead and plug it in. Plus 3, 1, 2, 3. Up 7/9. Right here, we made our line. And then here, plus 3. Down 9/7, which is right here. Notice how they form a 90-degree angle. We're going to do another one of these here. Oh wait, let's take a quick break just to do it.
When I said that last goodbye, I was wondering why did I do that to you? Do that to you? But you didn't want to try, you didn't see the light, and it is over for you, over for you.
And we're back. Take a look at this, however. Y equals 3x minus 1. Because 3 is a whole number, that's the same as saying 3/1. So, instead of 3/1, 1/3. And instead of positive, it's going to be a negative. So take a look here. This becomes negative 1/3 now because we switched and switched. And if I plug that in, take a look at this. I have negative 1 to be sure. And then 3/1, so up 3/1, up 3/1, up 3/1, which is right here. And this guy, which starts at negative 1, down 1/3, down 1/3, down 1/3. Notice how it forms that 90-degree angle. You try. Find the parallel. Y equals negative 2x plus 1. Remember, it's really negative 2/1. Hope that helps. Go ahead. Hope you took, instead of 2/1, 1/2. Instead of negative, becomes a positive. So take a look here. Y equals negative 2x plus 1, up 1, and then down 2/1, down 2/1, like that. And then this guy here, up 1, and then up 1/2, up 1/2. This becomes a line. Notice how it formed a 90-degree angle. Break time.
I don't even have to cry, and I'll tell you why. There is nothing to lose, nothing to lose.
And back. Now for the part that is really hard. How hard, you ask? Well, I'm just so glad you asked. Yes, take the Screaming Sheep's word for it. It's going to be something. But hang with me here. You can follow on page 352 if it helps you. I've actually taken the liberty of copying the book down. Naughty, naughty, but I had to because I wanted you to see this. Write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line that passes through 4, 5 and is parallel to the line described by y equals 5x plus 10. Sounds like a lot. Let's talk about it. All I'm saying is I have a line already. That's at plus 10. Then up 5/1, up 5/1. So there's my line by itself. And the same line, I'm going to say, also crosses this spot at 4, 5. So there's going to be a line that goes like this. So there's going to be two lines like this the second one that crosses 4 comma 5. So we're saying, okay, I have to take this angle and put it in this new spot. Here's the breakdown, so you can go ahead and look at it in your book or here. So you can pause now and look at it first if you like, and then I'll pick it up again. But here's what I'm saying. I started with y equals 5x plus 10. Well, okay. I find the slope, which is 5. All right. Input the new coordinate point, which is 4 comma 5. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. That's, remember, point slope form. I'm just going to simply put in my point, which is the 4 and the 5, and add in the slope, which is the 5. And I have it here to help you as well. So simply put, instead of y minus y1, y minus 5, and slope instead of m is going to now be a 5, as I proved there, and x instead of x minus x1, x minus 4. Now you go ahead and times them both by 5, which is this here. Instead of minus 5, add 5, and y equals 5x minus 15. Take a look. Y equals 5x plus 10, which is the original line, and y equals 5x minus 15 is the parallel. Notice here how they have the same slope, and this does run through 4 comma 5. By the way, how do we know for sure? Well, if you don't believe me, plug this in. Plug the 4 in here and the 5 in here, and 5 does equal 4 times 5 minus 15 all day long. So you know it's okay. Now, let's do another one. Write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line that passes through 2 comma 3 and is parallel to the line described in y equals 3x plus 10. Well, okay. Again, my slope here is going to be 3, so m equals 3. And I'm going to run through 2 comma 3. So I have my original point slope form. All I got to do is stick in my point, which is the 2 here, and the 3 here, and stick in my slope, which goes right here. So now I get y minus 3 equals 3 times x minus 2. Now 3 times x is 3x, 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Now instead of minus 3, add 3. Add 3 to one side, add 3 to the other. I go ahead and do that, and I get y equals 3x minus 3. So now, if I put them together, y equals 3x plus 10 and y equals 3x minus 3, notice how they have the same slope, but this new one, runs through 2 comma 3. Let's do a U-try. Write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line that passes through negative 3 comma 3 and is parallel to the line described by y equals negative 2x plus 4. Go ahead. And I hope that you paused and tried. Let's see what you did. So I have these here. Slope equals negative 2. I'm going through negative 3 comma 3. Now I have my point slope form. I'm just going to go ahead and plug in the x value, which is negative 3. And I know I have negative 3, but hang on. And this y is right here, so y minus 3. And slope's negative 2. Step 1, two negatives make a positive. Okay. Next, times them all by negative 2. So negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. And now instead of minus 3, I add 3. Add 3 to one side, add 3 to the other. And I get y equals negative 2x minus 3. Now why minus 3? Because I had negative 6 and went up 3. So I'm at negative 3. Let's plug them in and see. Y equals negative 2x plus 4, and y equals negative 2x minus 3. And so I have plus 4, and then down 2 over 1. Here I have minus 3, down 2 over 1. Notice how they're parallel, or a pretty good approximation of it. And this new one does go through negative 3 comma 3. All right, now for the tough one. Here it is on your book to help you, same page as before. Write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line that passes through 3, 2, and is perpendicular to the line described by y equals 3x minus 1. Sounds like a lot. Here it is if you want to do it ahead of me. Then I'll talk about it. If you want to go ahead and work ahead, pause and go ahead. If not, let's keep going. My original line is y equals 3x minus 1. I want to run through 3 comma 2. So this line now is down 1, up 3 over 1, up 3 over 1, like this. I want to find one that's perpendicular that goes this way, that's running through 3 comma 2. So we're going to have two things happening here. The first is I want to take this. Normally I would just plug in y minus 2 equals 3 times x minus 3. However, this 3 would normally be the slope, but I need the perpendicular. Remember, flip, flip. So normally 3 over 1. Now 1 over 3. Normally positive, now negative. So here becomes negative 1/3 times x minus 3. Gets a little choppy, but take your time. Keep this where it is for now. Negative 1/3 times x is negative 1/3 x. Negative 1/3 times negative 3. Two negatives make a positive, and 1/3 times 3. Don't forget, 3 times 1 divided by 3 is 1. So this whole mess becomes a positive 1. And now, instead of minus 2, we're going to add 2. Add 2 to one side, add 2 to the other. Y equals negative 1/3 x plus 3. So that is your finished product there. Let's do one again together to get a full view. Write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line that passes through 2, 3 and is perpendicular to the line described in y equals 3x plus 10. Take a look here. Here's point slope form. I have 2, 3. My slope is 3. However, because they want perpendicular, instead of 3 over 1, 1 over 3, instead of positive, negative. And that's all. So 3 over 1 becomes 1 over 3, positive becomes negative. Still x minus 2 inside. Why x minus 2? Because remember, x was a 2. X minus x1 is x minus 2. And y minus y1 is y minus the 3. Okay. So take a breath. Negative 1/3 times x is negative 1/3 x. Negative 1/3 times negative 2. Negative times negative makes a positive. 2 times 1 is 2 over 3, or simply 2/3. Honestly, I don't care if you put 2/3 or 0.67. That's up to you. At this point, if you need decimals to get by, I'm not going to complain at this time. I have to get y by itself, though. So instead of minus 3, we're going to add 3. Add 3 to one side, add 3 to the other. A little choppy again. If you went decimals, I'm not going to complain. But I got y equals negative 1/3 x plus 3 and 2/3. Now let's go ahead and graph. You don't have to graph, I'll graph for you. Just wanted to prove to you this is real. Y equals 3x plus 10, so okay, up 10. Then up 3 over 1, up 3 over 1, up 3 over 1, up 3 over 1. Here's your line. That was the original, remember? Y equals 3x plus 10. Now, I want to meet at 2, 3. So I need to meet at 2, 3 with this new line, which now I've seen is I go up 3 and 2/3. And I basically go down 1 over 3, down 1 over 3. Notice again how this does form a 90-degree angle, if I could draw a 90-degree angle properly. So there's your proof. You try. Write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line that passes through 3, 7 and is parallel to the line described by y equals negative 2x plus 1. Step 1. I have y equals negative 2x plus 1. The slope normally is negative 2. We'll fix that in a second. And the point we want is 3, 7. Think point slope. But there's a new slope to be had. Instead of negative 2, 2 over 1 that is, instead of 2 over 1, 1 over 2. Instead of negative, becomes a positive. So notice how this becomes this. Now you might ask, why do I write this out the first time? Because I want a visual. I want to see what the original one is. Then I can physically slide them over so I don't slip in my mind what I'm doing. That's where a lot of your mistakes are going to come in at. You're going to do this and not do this because you're going to make that mental mistake. Write it out and you won't have any trouble. It's a lot of little steps, and for some of you, I know you're going to have trouble, but you'll have a lot less trouble if you write out each little step. It's a lot more work, but it's a lot better to answer these questions. Anyway, so negative 2 times x, well now it's half times x. So y minus 7 stays the same. Half times x is half x. Half times negative 3, I put as negative 3 halves. If you put negative 1.5, again, I'm not going to fight you on it. That's fine. Now instead of minus 7, plus 7, and plus 7 over here, for me, I got y equals half x plus 5.5. I do insist that you keep this as a fraction for now because it's going to make graphing so much easier. So much easier. But if you want to have 5.5, dandy. I went ahead and graphed it for you. This was the original. Remember, y equals negative 2x plus 1. And I have that. So up 1. Then down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. This is my original line. And this line here, which I'll actually change to a color that matches everything else here, is plus 5.5. Notice how it crosses through at 5.5. Up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, and notice how it crosses into 3, 7. And there you go.